It's a pleasure to be here, everyone. Again, my name is Brian Suerth. Just going to talk a little bit about myself and who I am. But it's a pleasure, again, to be here with everyone and the opportunity to present along with TigerPaw. I'm the president of a company called Technology Assurance Group. We're an organization that provides best business practices to integrators around the United States and Canada. I'm also a partner at a company called VoiceSmart Networks here in Southern California. VoiceSmart Networks is a leading managed services provider in Southern California. We provide a variety of different types of technology solutions from LA throughout Southern California all the way down to San Diego. VoiceSmart Networks is kind of our living, breathing entity, if you will. So we have a training consulting company in TAG, and then we have our own feet on the street organization where we're in the trenches every day, selling every day, just like our membership across the country. So VoiceSmart, in our organization, we received the 2013 Channel Partners 360 Award for providing a holistic approach to manage IT services, network security, disaster recovery, voice, SIP, surveillance, and so on. So something that we're externally proud about. My partner is actually at the Channel Partners show this week here in Boston, and he's receiving the Channel Partners Innovation Award for Cloud Services as well. So who is TAG? Well, we're an international association of unified communications providers. Our members integrate all different types of technology for their customers. Obviously managed IT, telecommunications, telephony, AV, surveillance, IP security, video, telepresence, managed services, managed print, connectivity, and so on. We have about 90 members throughout the United States, representing about $350 million in products and services. We have a very strong and close relationship with TigerPaw. We feel that TigerPaw is the leading PSA tool. About over 80% of our member companies leverage and utilize the capacities and the sophistication that TigerPaw brings to helping all of us essentially run our businesses effectively, and allows us to deliver what we need to with our customers. So TAG members benefit from a variety of different programs, from sales and profitability. We're all about increasing the bottom line of our members. We drive recurring revenue, all forms of different. We help companies, which we're going to discuss today, make that transition into managed IT, help them enhance their employee productivity and retention, and dominate their market share. We have a webinar series that we're going to be going through here. So this is the first of a handful of series that will be covered over the next few months. So we've had the privilege to present to you through TigerPaw. And today's webinar is going to focus in on targeting the right MSP audience and making an impact on the decision maker. So we're going to go through that process here today. And again, if you have opportunities for questions, we're going to go through that at the end. But we're all not only going to go through that webinar, but over the next few months, we're going to focus in on how do you market, call, and set an MSP appointment. What do you do on the first MSP appointment? And then presenting your proposal, 3 keys to increasing your close ratio. So each one of these webinars builds upon another. And they're real-life experiences of our own success, building our own MSP in Southern California, as well as our wealth of knowledge of being in business as TAG since 1998 and bringing best business practices in every aspect of an organization. So that's who we are. That's kind of some information on our organization. So let's get into the meat of the material. So in terms of targeting the right MSP audience, again, before we can really get into the meat of this question, we have to ask ourselves, what do we need? Essentially, before we ask this question, we need to know who we are and what our strengths are as an organization. We have to understand our strengths, our challenges, because there's about 4 to 5 different entities essentially moving into this space, right? We have essentially, and each one of these entities are going to be represented on this particular audience that we have on this call today. So the first one is we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and see who are we today in order for us to make that transition to owning the customer and owning the technology that we deliver to them. So the first one is, am I a break fix transitioning to MSP? As a break fix, you've seen the light, you want to scale your business, you're sitting with a number of customers wanting to make the transition, you know the break fix process, It's an old process. It's not today's manner in which we deliver a proactive approach to our customers. So you've seen the light. You need to make that transition. From a telecom perspective, we have telecom organizations, telecom VARs, voice VARs that need to make the transition as well to MSP. You've been around 20, 25 years, potentially over 30 years in business. You've built up a strong customer base. You've seen the light, and you need to go to MSP, because here's what we know. Whoever owns the LAN, right, whoever owns the customer's LAN owns the customer. Because the telephony today is a relatively small application on the LAN. Okay, so as a telecom company, in order to thrive and grow and survive in today's marketplace, we need to own the LAN, because where is cloud voice skyrocketing? Well, it's skyrocketing amongst IT VARs, the IT community that is now transitioning into voice. So in order to make that you need to make that transition into MSP to protect your base and to grow your base and to scale and become more profitable as a business. Another one is, am an MSP seeking more business? Trying to grow your business, we want to scale, we want to grow, and we want to seek more business. So am I an MSP in the process of accelerating my growth, and how am I going to get there? And then lastly, which we all need to become, is essentially a unified communications provider. And that's an organization that integrates the different forms of technology that I mentioned earlier, whether it's IT, telephony, AV, surveillance, IP security, and so on. So you're essentially that single source provider for all of your customers' needs, because in today's environment we all know that technologies has converged, and there's no reason for an entity or an end user to go to multiple companies to satisfy their technology needs. As we become and make that transition, and we need to get to that process of becoming that unified communications technology provider. In our audience today, everyone is either one or two of these, and for each one of you, it presents a different form of challenges and opportunities to grow. And so we want to talk about some of those opportunities depending upon where you're at. So as a break fix, you know, some of the opportunities you have, you're sitting with about 30, 40 customers. You know, me and Joe are going out there taking care of them. When something breaks, we go out there and fix it. That's essentially the break fix model, right? You've seen the light. You need to make that transition to a proactive approach, scale your business. Some of the opportunities you have is you have a strong data background. So making the transition is obviously much easier in some cases than in other areas. And when we say, you know, anything under 50 customers is a relatively small base. You got a good base, but it's a relatively small base. You're making wages, you're making a living, but you need to scale your business if you wanted to be that true MSP, right? So you have the ability or the opportunity to scale your existing business. You've got a strong expertise, and now the ability to offer a wider scope of services and to an existing base and new customers. So essentially, everyone is talking about, obviously, cloud services, making that proactive approach. And you can, in fact, become that be proactive in that nature. And as IT VARs come into our organization at TAG because we show them the economics, we show them how to scale, we show them how to ramp up. And that's a significant opportunity that you have in front of you. Some of the challenges that as a break-fix organization, making that shift or transition to MSP, essentially having that small base, right? You having that small base, you've been able to build your business through referrals, which obviously is, there's no better way than word of mouth through referral business, but in order to scale, you have to implement various prospecting methodologies. You have to develop a sales plan in order to help scale your business and help it grow. And that's what we do here at TAG, is we teach about a dozen different ways of prospecting methodologies to help you make that transition. But you have to also understand the economics of outsourcing, right? In order to scale, we strongly believe you leverage third-party outsource to help your business scale. You keep that technical expertise in-house, but you can leverage a NOC, you can leverage a help desk, you can leverage a variety of different tools to help you scale, help you grow, but you got to understand what the economics looks like and how you go about doing that. So that's from a break-fix, if you're in a break-fix position today, right? We're making that transition, something breaks, we go out, fix it, to making that proactive approach where alleviate issues behind the scenes where the customer, we've even prevented the situation before the customer is even aware of it, right? So we have the break fix. Then we have the telecom company making that transition, okay? Well, there's some significant opportunities from a telecom perspective, right? There's a lot of voice companies out there that need to make the transition into IT. And again, the whole point is we can't be a one-trick pony anymore. We have to continually make the shift to adopt more and more technologies so we can be that single source entity to our customer. And the opportunities that the Telecom Centric VAR has is you got a very substantial base. You've been in business a long time. Many voice companies have been around for many years. They have about anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000, if not more, depending upon how you scaled your business, customers sitting there. You got a captive audience. You don't have to go out and prospect for new business. You can leverage your pre-existing relationships to start presenting and start capturing your customer's business, to start capturing and building your business and managing your customers' networks. Okay, so that's the significant advantage because you leverage those pre-existing customer relationships, start educating them on where you're at today, educating them on the ability of what you've been able to do to transition your business. Now you're taking a proactive approach to managing your network, and you have the ability to take business from the break-fix entity that's currently servicing that customer. Because right out of the gate, you're operating in a managed services proactive relationship with the customer versus a break-fix one. So you have a real strong competitive advantage against those entities that have that break-fix relationship. So, and in this process, we need to understand that we don't market, no matter who we're at, where we're at in this framework here. We don't market to IT in a company. Our target within a company is the CEO or CFO. That's our target. So everything we do from a marketing perspective, from a sales perspective, is we first start with the CEO or CFO because the decision is not a technology one. It's a business solution decision. It's an ROI decision, and that comes from the CEO and CFO, and that's where we start first. And in our case here, our sweet spot is really companies. So those of you that are a voice entity, our customers are employees, companies with employees about anywhere from 20 to 50 employees. They're essentially using a break-fix, either internal or external outsourced entity. And that's really our upside here. So got a large customer base, have the ability to compete against the break-fix. Some of the challenges that you're going to have as a voice company making the transition or as a telecom company making that transition is truly understanding the IT side of a business and staffing up to facilitate that business, right? This is somewhat foreign in some cases, the ability to understand the types of capacities, the internal capacities that you need to have, the expertise, the certifications, the pricing methodologies, the product selection, things of that nature. So the ability to understand how to bring in the right people within an entity. And what we found, so what we did is we turned a 30-year-old voice company and Voice Smart Networks into a managed services provider. So we stopped hiring voice technicians about 7 years ago, okay? Because it's much easier to train a data technician to understand voice than it is to bring a voice technician to understand IT or data. So everything that we've done in our own company is to build that IT capacity within the company and then leverage third-party outsource, a NOC, help desk, in order to scale. But that's one of the challenges that you have in order to do that. And from a prospecting perspective, it is a different sales process to sell IT than it is for voice. Different sales process. It's it's a little bit different prospecting process and so on, and marketing process as well. So that's something that, from a voice perspective, we need to get a handle on. In addition to that, we have an MSP seeking more business. So we've got the break fix making the transition to MSP. We have the voice VAR, the telecom IT VAR, the telecom company making the transition to MSP. And now we're an MSP, right? We have another part of the audience is an MSP seeking more business, right? So there's opportunities, obviously, to scale from that perspective. The opportunities that you have in front of you is that ability to scale. You're already taking a proactive approach to managing your customer's network. You're already generating recurring revenue, right? So you have that ability to grow that recurring revenue. You're leveraging, in most cases, the way to do it is leveraging third-party help desk, NOC, in order to grow, keeping that significant high-end capacity in-house, but leveraging outsourced capacities. You're already more profitable than the break fix, and you're as well as the one that's trying to build internally. Okay, so you have the ability to expand that business and enhance your profitability as you scale. And in this process, we're not selling technology. For all of us on the phone here today, we're not selling technology. We're selling business applications, right, and solutions that are within a company. All of us at every stage, regardless of what stage we're in right now, needs to understand that when we look at a business, we need to take a look at our customer's business. What industry are they in? How do they leverage and utilize technology today to accomplish their business objectives? That's what IT is meant to do. It's just as important as the VP of sales, the VP of marketing, the CFO within an organization, right? It's how do we leverage and utilize the business applications derived from technology to accomplish what the owner wants to achieve as the objectives for the organization. And that's what its true purpose is. So we help the owner go through this process, and we do it in a proactive nature. From a challenge perspective, as an MSP seeking more business, hiring sales personnel. This is relatively new. We need to enhance that capacity, right? The ability to hire the right individuals, to adopt that capacity within your business, to coach, mentor, support sales individuals. And, in most cases, most businesses in this, regardless of where you're coming from, think, I need a technical guy to go out and sell this. And we're saying, no, you don't. You don't need a technical guy to go out and sell this. You need an individual that has the capacity to go out and secure appointments, to generate opportunities, to go out and implement the 12 different prospecting methodologies to drive opportunities. Because that individual, the salesperson, needs to know what the business outcome is of that technology, needs to know what the application is, not how it works and to a granularity. So you need someone, and focus on individuals that can generate those opportunities for you. That's where you're going to get the bang for your buck. The sale is not a technical sale. As I said, it's a business application sale that has to occur. And as we go through that process, we need those individuals that can generate appointments, that can bang on the phones, that can network in the evenings, that can network during the day, and so on. And that's why here at TAG, we have programs that allows our members to accelerate the growth of their sales, because we have hiring programs, training programs that will expedite the success of those sales personnel. But you need to build a sales team, and as an owner, right, most of us on the call today, or many companies on the call today are selling owner. How do you transition yourself to also be that coach, be that facilitator, be that supporter of their success in the marketplace, so you can make and help grow? So again, the ability to essentially implement a successful prospecting and sales plan in this process. So as we go from there, as we mentioned, we've got our break fix, telecom company, MSP that wants to scale, and now there are some of us on the call today that is a true unified communications provider. And as I mentioned, a true unified communications provider they're that single source, right, for of technology for their customer. They're already bringing managed IT to the table. They're bringing managed print to the table, AV, IP security, telephony, and so on. So from an unified communications perspective, you have some significant opportunities as well. And ultimately, this is where everybody on this call needs to be. You're able to go after larger scale transactions because you're already in this space. And because customers are looking for a company, as I said, that can take care of all of their needs. Someone that can understand my business and provide a holistic approach, provide a global approach to all of their technology. Right? The opportunities that you have is you have greater ability to essentially scale and get involved in more complex transactions because of the varying technologies that you have the ability to do. Plus, you have greater capacities to go vertical. We go vertical, understanding the length of their market. So, for example, the ability to understand the pharmaceutical industry and knows what goes around that. In our own business at VoiceSmart, we're very strong in the pharmaceutical industry. We're able to do that because we gained a customer, about a 200-employee company in Southern California in the pharmaceutical industry, where we're doing all of their IT. They no longer have an in-house IT. It's all derived at VoiceSmart. And because we're able to get that customer, now we understand their line of business applications, we understand that vertical, and now we can expand upon that and target other pharmaceutical companies because of our knowledge in that arena. And not only that is, we're able to get the customer essentially pregnant with managed IT. Well, now what are we bringing to them? We're bringing voice, we're bringing security and surveillance cameras within their facilities, monitor what they've got going, and so on. So whether you choose at this point, you have the ability to whether it's healthcare, understanding HIPAA regulations, and so on, you've got the ability to do that and help you make that transition. And so essentially, at one time, we were able to make a living. Everyone on this call was able to make a living selling one or two particular products. Well, over time, the margins have decreased on those products. And that's why it's so important to bring on more solutions to increase your profitability, because with each one of the solutions that I shared just a moment ago, we can tie recurring revenue to those solutions. And that's the ultimate goal, is bringing recurring revenue streams to each one of those solutions as we scale. Right? So there's more opportunities with a base, new business. We've got greater opportunities for recurring revenue streams. And as I mentioned, from a recurring revenue perspective, our members, our tag members, are sitting with a minimum of 8 to 9 different ways of generating recurring revenue into their company. And essentially the goal within every organization should be, can I cover 100% of your nut? Can I cover 100% of my nut with recurring revenue? That way, even if you don't sell anything in that month, 100% of your bills are paid through recurring revenue. You are a very profitable company, and that's why we see companies here at TAG achieving upwards of 35% EBITDA after owners' salaries, because they've been able to cover their nut through recurring revenue, and everything else from that standpoint is gravy. So higher profitability per customer, and the ability to be that trusted advisor for all that technology. Again, as I mentioned, at one time, you can make a living selling copiers, you can make a living selling phone systems, you can make a living selling IT. But guess what? Everything is converging. The copier guys are selling managed services. MSPs are getting into managed print. A couple years ago, here at my office here in San Diego, we were door knocked by a company called BCS, and they're no longer. They're the company we used to be called Business Copier Solutions. And they're no longer called Business Copier Solutions. Why? Because that pigeonholed them. So they're BCS, and they sell all the different things that we're talking about. They saw the light, and they started selling. They started selling disaster recovery solutions. They started monitoring their customers' networks. They started selling security surveillance solutions, and so on. So everything is converging, and in order to protect and grow our customer base, this is ultimately where we need to go. And we approach essentially our customer, the owner or the CFO, as a business consultant, right? Not with one technology, but with many technologies. And essentially when we talk to that business owner, it's a global approach, and we take a snapshot of what we have today, Mr. Customer. We're going to take a snapshot of what we have today. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk intelligently about the underlying technology that they have. We're going to learn about it, and we're going to show them where they're at today and give them a snapshot of where they could go. But no one goes from A to Z in one step, right? You go from A to B to C, and you can't get there overnight. But in going from A to B to C with an organization, there's recurring revenue tied to all of it, right? Because our whole goal is to increase our customers' profitability and give them a competitive advantage. And that's the objective of when we interact with an organization, is to increase their profitability and give them a competitive advantage. Because and that's the definition of technology. Because if technology didn't do those two things to a customer, why would that customer adopt that technology? So essentially, that's the goal. And in addition to that, we have the ability to protect them from the two risks of technology: obsolescence and unknown cost. And now when you get to that point, you truly become that which that bullet says right there, that true trusted advisor for all of that technology. So, James, any comments or questions at this point?
No, I couldn't agree with you more. The trusted advisor piece, when, nobody's going to buy from you unless they like you and trust you, and that's so critical. There's several things I've jotted down that they want to interject too much in your flow, but I think you're right on the money with all your points so far, and this is so important. And to emphasize one last point that you made a couple slides ago, I think is fantastic. The approach has to be different nowadays, where you take a business approach to technology, not that technology approach. These business owners, if you're calling in from the top down, you can't talk tech talk. You've got to talk business talk and be that problem solver, and that will create you becoming their trusted advisor. That's so critical. It all comes together that way.
That's exactly right. And you bring up an excellent point as well. And people buy from people they like, they trust, and they respect. And in order to do that, we have to have a number of touch points in the sales process to build that relationship and to differentiate ourselves. We go in to our customers with what I just said earlier. Our goal, our mission here at Voice Smart Networks is to increase your profitability, enhance your employees' productivity, and give you a competitive advantage. We're going to learn your business. We're going to understand your business. We're going to understand your industry in which you compete. And we're going to utilize and leverage technology and provide you with applications that can help your business grow. That's how we differentiate ourselves. Most other companies in the marketplace go in there and say, you know what, I'm going to, if your email, if Outlook goes down, I'm going to fix it. If your server goes down, I'm going to fix that too. It's a different mentality of how you go to the owner and the CFO, and it's an ROI approach, right? They have to receive a return on investment if it makes sense for that business.
Right.
So, and so as the challenge is obviously staffing, sales, and technical, because you're from a unified communications perspective, you're adopting new technologies in a variety of areas. So the process of having skill sets within the organization to deploy IP technology from a camera perspective or security perspective, and we've been discussing IT, or if you're coming from an IT background in deploying voice and so on. So those types of challenges. But those can be easily overcome as long as you're dedicated to doing it, and you utilize and leverage the capacities that you have at your disposal, Tiger Paw being one of them. Tiger Paw, in leveraging their tool, will help you make that transition easily and effectively, and utilizing their underlying capacities that they have that they can bring to the table. And that's why the majority of our members leverage their tool in their business to help them run their business each and every day. So again, you need to take a look at the opportunities, see how to leverage those opportunities, and that's essentially what we do here at TAG. We take a look at where you're at today, it's a starting point, and then we help you make that transition and help your business grow from that perspective. So that's what we need to do from a starting point. Okay, everyone today, you need to take a look in the mirror and say, okay, where do I want to go next? Okay, and as we go make that transition and we into MSP, we have to see, okay, what are my opportunities? What are my challenges? We have to sit down and go through where are my strengths as a business, where are my weaknesses, and where are my areas of improvement before you can even make that move forward. So if your objective is to make that transition to an MSP, sit down, put 4 quadrants together: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and see where your capacities are as a business today, because that will help guide you and shore up your transition as you move forward. Okay? Very practical way to go about doing it. Now, what we want to talk about is making an impact on that decision maker. So let's talk about making an impact on a decision maker. And that decision maker, again, as we've talked about, is we market to the CEO and the CFO within a business. So let's start talking about our prospecting capacities, our marketing capacities, and how you go about differentiating yourself in your industry. Because here's what we know. In order to make that transition, regardless of where you're at today, you need to educate your customer base. Your most valuable asset that everyone has on this call is their customer base. Well, as you make that transition, we educate our customer base. Well, you got to be out in front of your customer base in a multitude of ways. One way is leveraging and utilizing various marketing capacities, advertising capacities to present, because if your customers think that you're a voice organization, you need to start presenting yourself as an IT company, that you have the capacity to manage and understand and leverage the infrastructure and their network in a proactive approach, right? But you have to reinforce that message on a continual basis, or you're not going to get there. So one of the things that we do at TAG, we have a TAG marketing program that's straightforward. We don't give a lot of words. We give a compelling message that grabs people's attention, and we do it through a pictorial, and we do it on a consistent basis. Marketing 101, everything you do has to be on a consistent basis. You got to get your message out there. You got to get your brand out there on a consistent basis, because it takes about 8 times or more for someone to see something that you're sending out there, for them to actually think about it, for them to comprehend it, and for them to remember it. So that's that constant interaction. And so what we're doing is we're changing the perception of how your customers look at you, because we want them to start looking at you as an MSP, as a unified communications provider, and so on, right? So the other aspect that we all need to understand is no matter where you're at or where your company is at that we described, if you want to get in and try to do everything at one time, it gets overwhelming. So what I mean by that is essentially you can't go in and sell all the different types of solutions on that first appointment with a customer, right? We go in and we understand what their needs are as a business. We first and foremost understand their business, understand their needs, and then we start zeroing in on a certain application, a certain business solution. We're not going to go there all at one time. It's too overwhelming, okay, to go. So we essentially bring a certain solution to them, we develop our relationship, and then we expand it from there. Because here's what we know. We know that customers don't buy if they're confused or they need more information on a given topic, right? Yeah. So, and as you know, James, I mean, that, from your experiences, customers don't buy if they're confused or they need more information. And in this technology business, I mean, it's very easy to confuse customers, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great point.
So we go in with a particular technology first. So when we started, our many years ago by making the transition in our own business, we started by marketing to our customer base with a list that we purchased in Southern California. So we started marketing to our base, and then we also purchased, obviously, a list of our target ideal customer, right? In our case, customers with 20 to 50 employees, and we consistently marketed. And the particular topic that we chose was disaster recovery. So because obviously that's a hot topic, right? It's on the minds of many business owners. And so we started marketing disaster recovery and repetitively, right? And we took everyone in our organization and we got them educated on that particular topic, on that solution. So essentially we sold a single program because, and that's a great point especially if you're a telecom company trying to make the transition. You sit back and say, okay, I've got a salesperson here, I've got a couple of salespeople, they've been selling telecom, now I need to educate them on how to sell the different capacities of IT or managed services. Well, one of the best ways to do it is just educate them on one particular solution at one time. And again, not the inner workings of the solution, it's what that solution does for a business, right? So you can go in and talk about a particular technology and how it relates to their business. And that's the most important thing, essentially. And so what we do is we went through that process of educating them and making them feel comfortable. We're not throwing everything all at once, but we educated everyone within our business on that particular that particular technology that we wanted to go after. And so, our advertising, it's a little edgy, but the most important thing is that we get our name out there, we get a message out there, and we get our salesperson's name out there, okay, on a regular and consistent message. And just recently, what we started to do in our own communication, our own email marketing, and we obviously leverage an integrated marketing approach. This is just one of the many ways of how we educate our own customers in our own business. But we started embedding video testimonials within our email campaigns and things of that nature. And what it does is it provides that added third-party testimonial of your offering. As the offering grows within an entity, we change our marketing strategy within that company. So we customize our message based on who we're dealing with. And so we show value in what we're doing, and we show value in the range of opportunities that we can discuss with that particular entity. So, and so, for example, whether it's disaster recovery, managed services, for those of you that are already in MSP, you should be able to market to your strength. Your strength is an MSP. You market to your strength. You pick a certain list. You buy a list. You start marketing to your strength. You know the capacities of how to get in there, how to leverage the capacities that you have as an organization, and how you transition that prospect into hopefully a loyal customer. The other thing that we're seeing is you can also take a look at not only from online interactive marketing, also direct mail. We're seeing in some cases some success from a direct mail piece. So the pendulum is starting to swing back in some cases. What used to work years and years ago are starting to come back today. So again, most important thing is we're getting our brand, we're getting our name, we're getting the salesperson's name, but we're targeting the CFO and the CEO within a company. Okay? So in addition to that, one of the hottest topics out there right now, network defense, also cybersecurity, right, with everything going on. How do I protect myself and my business from attacks? You can't, as James, have you seen it, you can't open up Yahoo or any news site without seeing another cybersecurity attack, can you?
Absolutely, it's happening, and every week you see it in the major media now.
Yeah, I mean, just here locally in Southern California, not long, just a few months back, the UCLA medical system, their system was attacked. 7 million medical records got in the hands of some very bad people, right? We know about Target, the whole thing with, if you saw 34 million names sitting on Ashley Madison is out in public view right now, right? That's another example of a cybersecurity attack. It's on the minds of every business owner out there, is to protect their business. You're seeing it over and over and over again. In our own business, what we've done through the guidance of TAG is we built a cybersecurity practice, and now we're marketing to that heavily, and we're zeroing in. 90% of our efforts right now is in cybersecurity. So not only are we doing it via online, but we do seminars with prospective customers, existing customers. We do executive technology briefings, bring people in either at a breakfast or a lunch, and we start educating them, again, not on the underlying technology, but how to protect what's occurring out there within businesses, and then how to go about what's the plan to protect their sensitive information, their customers' information, credit card information, everything that goes around in helping a business protect itself. So we go through the process. I'm sorry, go ahead, James.
I was going to say the security is just so critical nowadays, and I love your marketing pieces, your examples here that you highlight that. And honestly, I've been on the other side of the table where I ran my own IT provider for years, and it's a scary proposition, especially when you're outsourcing a lot of partners and you rely on your vendors to help you secure people's networks. It's more and more challenging today. So that's why the good news is that's why customers need us, right? They need you to be the experts and to protect them, because it's more confusing than it's ever been.
That's exactly right, and you hit on a great point, is because our customers need us to be the experts, and essentially when we focus in or zero in on that particular topic, we become known for that particular product, that particular expertise at that point in time, because our customers, again, they want to focus in on their core competency as a business, right? It's up to us to be that trusted partner to manage their technology, again, not just fixing, not just being proactive and making sure things run on a daily basis, making sure that their network is up continually and things of that nature, but taking it to the next level to sit with them as their strategic business advisor. And that's why it's business-to-business conversation. It's not a technical conversation. It's business-to-business because, again, as I said earlier, technology is designed to help a company accomplish its strategic business objectives. So we need to understand what's the business owner want to accomplish in the next 90 days, 180 days, the next 12 months, so we can incorporate ourselves into that plan and leverage and utilize technology to help them get there. And if we do that, James, do you think that customer would ever leave us?
Oh, absolutely not. They keep you forever.
Yeah, they keep you forever, and that's the value that we bring. And so, even something as simple as spam, right? And again, essentially what we do is, you pick one of the things that I'm talking about, you educate your sales force, and in about 3 days they're going to get comfortable with it, right? And they start educating their customers, and then you move on from one to the next. But that's how you get a sales force comfortable, because again, the value that they bring is the ability to generate appointments for your business. If they're not generating new business, again, not business that would come in anyway, net new business, they're not doing anything for you. So that's what we need. We need to bring in those capacities, but then we can shore that up with the understanding of what the outcome of those applications do for a business. So, as we built our sales team, we have 6 salespeople here in my company at VoiceSmart. And, we focus on the education process, and we focus on the business solutions process. And that's what we do here at TAG as we train salespeople around the United States and Canada. So you need to look at, again, what kind of business you're in, what product you're going to be best at first, and then you got to expand it from there and go from the next one. Once you get that capacity, you move to the next one, and then to the next one. And again, as I mentioned, it's that constant reinforcement, because people aren't going to remember unless they see it at least a minimum of 8 times to see what you do, how you do it, why you do it. And so it's a consistent, you got to be committed to getting that education process with the right message, with the right customer audience, and so on. So in addition to that, this is where TigerPaw plays a key role, because one of their many capacities that they have as an organization is the ability to help automate your marketing program. So to leverage and utilize whatever type of material that you have, you can embed that and help. That system will help automate your marketing for you. So again, another way of leveraging the capacities that you have through TigerPaw and so on. So just wanted to blow a couple of these up so you can see what I'm talking about. It's not a lot of information. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, it grabs your attention. And a lot of them are edgy, they're humorous. You know, friends don't let friends try to solve their own computer problems, right? Managed IT services solve problems automatically, 24/7 network monitoring, dedicated support team, right? Friends don't let friends try to solve their own computer problems. Houston, we have a problem. Wait, never mind, CTS technology already fixed it.
That's good.
Yeah. And again, short, sweet, to the point. You know, don't get wrapped up in trying to send newsletters and a lot of copy today. You know, everyone's getting banged on from all different directions, and less is more in today's environment. If you're able to zero in, you need to do that. So again, manage this one again, as you can see there, directs right into managed IT services. In addition to that, you know, Steve didn't back up his business files. Don't be Steve. You got Steve with a dunce hat on, right? The reason why we need to have, you know, secure cloud disaster recovery, on-site disaster recovery as well to secure, right? Whether it's, you know, fires, floods, stupidity within a company, right? So we do those kind of things. Oops, I went the wrong direction. And there, you know, you got this ugly-looking dog staring you in the face. Is your network security all bark and no bite, right? So again, the topic of network security, cyber security, and things like that. And then, you know, if spam were a goldfish, it would worry too. And you've got a goldfish sitting there in a blender. And so what we do here with the program is, you know, what we've implemented is when this is also proactive. So when an email goes out and a business owner clicks on it 3 times on a particular email, the salesperson is notified immediately. That way, the salesperson can make a phone call within 1 or 2 hours of that, knowing that business owner clicked on that particular email 3 times. Because what that does is we're not being Big Brother, but we have a way of calling that business owner and setting an appointment from there, because it's top of mind, right? The topic, the message may be top of mind. My brand is going to be top of mind. So now the salesperson has somewhat of a cold opportunity into a little bit warmer opportunity to go in and strategically set an appointment with that customer. But again, you gotta know what your message is, what you want to hit first, and you got to be consistent. And again, we got to hit the right decision maker as we go through that process. So. With that, just want to talk a little bit about the capacities of leveraging, how we leverage and utilize TigerPaw in this process of not only making that transition of where you're at today, of where you want to get to from an MSP perspective, but also supporting your ability to do what from a marketing perspective and targeting the right entity, right? So the first thing is being able to segment your customers and prospects, okay? What we do and what our membership does is we zero in, we leverage and utilize TigerPaw's capabilities to segment and essentially slice up or dice up our customer base, because we have different messages going to different customers. In the case of my company at VoiceSmart, we're a unified communications provider. Well, we know one of our customer segments are customers that have already purchased voice solutions. Well, what do we want to do with them? We want to start managing their network. So we're only going to send that customer base messages on MSP, right? So in order to make your marketing effective, you got to slice it up. You got to essentially customer segmentation. So we have a sales and marketing strategy zeroing in with the right message to the right entity as we go through that process. We leverage TigerPaw to help us essentially filter and help us set those customer segments up so we can zero in our sales and marketing plan for each one of the groups that we've set up.
Right.
James, anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I think that's so important that you need the right tools in your business to do that. And one of the things that's beautiful about TigerPaw is you don't need to export MailChimp or all these other email analytic tools. That's all on one platform, and you can run and manage your campaigns, and you can be very strategic with your messaging and your marketing and keep track of it all in one database. There's really not a tool out there that you could do that from a PSA standpoint to the capacity you can in TigerPaw. Now, that's why over 80% of your member companies use it, and they're using the power of it. That's what I love about it.
Absolutely, and that's obviously we're a raving fan, and our members are raving fans, and so we're thrilled with it because we've been utilizing it for a long time, not only within TAG, but within VoiceSmart and, as James mentioned, our other members across the country. And so we have very sophisticated capacities and expertise in the tool. Another way of what we need to do as a business is to track and manage our recurring revenue by account. Well, we've got to manage and understand who's driving revenue into our organization. Obviously, again, our objective, as I said earlier, our number one goal on every business owner that's sitting on this call today is to how do I go about covering 100% of my net through recurring revenue. We've been able to accomplish that at my company. And then everything from their point on is just pure profitability hitting the bottom line. And so, but we have to track and manage recurring revenue by account. We have to understand what's occurring, how do we manage that account effectively, where we're at with each different recurring revenue stream that we have within that particular account, and where do we want to grow it. And so in order to do that, we leverage the tool, we leverage TigerPaw to help us track that on a recurring basis, and we build our reports from that, and we monitor that every single month. And that's the most important thing we look at is our recurring revenue that we're driving. Every employee within our company is focused on growing recurring revenue. Why? Because of what I just said. It makes for a stable organization, it provides longevity, and you're going to be around forever if you're able to accomplish that within your organization. But we have to leverage the tool to track, manage, and provide reports in order of us to see where we're at today and where we wanted it to be, and then we tie it into our budgets and all of our financials from that standpoint. And that's what we call nirvana, actually. Nirvana is your ability to cover all of your costs through recurring revenue. And then, the ability to track sales opportunities, right? As I mentioned, we have a very strong sales team in our organization, as well as our members around the country. They leverage and utilize TigerPaw for the different types to track sales opportunities, right? You can't be a successful salesperson if you're just putting your opportunity down on a sheet of paper somewhere and you don't know what you did with that customer yesterday, 2 days ago, or you don't know what you're going to do with that customer next week or the week after, right? So we have to track those sales opportunities. We track the touch points that we have with a particular an account, whether it's an existing customer, whether it's a new prospect, but we have to track what do we have going on in our life as a salesperson with each one of our accounts. There's no better way of doing that than leveraging the TigerPaw tool. And because we can track our sales opportunities, our sales touch points, and we can strategize the sale. And we strategize not just the sale of where we're at, but what point in time. Because the dates of how we touch a customer is just as important as what we touch a customer with, right? So the ability to track sales opportunities from your base as well as new business. Wouldn't you agree, James?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then finally, and again, and this is just best business practices, but we're utilizing a tool that can help us get there. You got to record customer conversations from a sales perspective as we target the CEO, the CFO from a sales process perspective, right? From where we're at today at the first appointment to where we want to be at the close of where we're taking a particular organization. Well, we have to record our conversations every step of the way. By recording those conversations, by recording those steps, it helps us to strategize essentially the next touch point. It helps us to strategize internally. It helps us to strategize if we need to bring in any of your partners that get involved with closing that particular customer, depending upon what type of solution you use for your voice, and you bring that particular manufacturer in, or from an IT perspective, or from the utilization of the different point solutions that we've been talking about. But recording and managing those touch points are critical if you're going to ultimately get the customer to say yes to you and no to somebody else. So just wanted to tie in a couple of best business practices that we all need to be doing, and with this tool it allows us to be more effective at doing it, essentially. So essentially, we got to make the transition, right? We got to look in the mirror, see where you're at today, where are our strengths today, where are our weaknesses today, where the opportunities are, where the threats are, and how do I best make that migration, and where we need to go. We market to the owner or the CFO we talked about. And it's the process of, like we talked about earlier with James. It's the manner in which, how do I get a CEO to trust me, like me, and respect me, because that's how we're going to gain their business ultimately. Because people don't want to be sold, they want to buy. And the only way they're going to buy is if you get that trust, like, and respect. Okay? And so we target the right decision maker, we make the right impact on the decision maker, and again, we don't sell technology, we sell business solutions.
Right.
As you change your mindset as a company, as you change your mindset as a sales team, we go through that process. Our whole mindset is, Mr. Customer, I'm going to increase your profitability, I'm going to enhance your productivity, and I'm going to give you a competitive advantage through the utilization of technology and the applications I'm going to be able to bring to your business. And at the same time, protect you from the two risks of technology, cost and obsolescence. And that's what we do as MSPs, and that's what we do as unified communications providers. So please, for everyone on the call, start capitalizing on what we talked about today. Start working with your marketing departments. Understand the type of message you want to put out there. Reinforce it. Be consistent with it. Know who you're marketing to. Customize your message to the right audience. Take a look at your own base, because you should have a business plan of what am I going to do with my base. Okay? And then leverage and utilize it. And again, leverage and utilize the capacities of what we just talked about of the Tiger Paw solution. So as kind of just in summary again, this was the first webinar of a series of webinars where we're going to get into on the next one, essentially how do you market, call, and set an MSP appointment. We're going to talk about what to do, what to say, how to say it. What do you do on that first appointment when you're physically on site, the process, the content, what's that 15, 20-minute conversation look like when you're in front of a CEO, when you're in front of a CFO, and then ultimately we're going to get to the point where we present our solution, our MSP proposal, and the 3 keys to increasing your close ratio, and again, getting the customer to say yes to you and not to somebody else. So, and we go through a whole displacement strategy of who they're currently utilizing and why we're going to provide greater value through a proactive approach. So, again, I want to thank everyone for their time and their ability to be on the call today. I hope you found great value out of what we discussed.
Just in closing, I wanted to highlight a couple quick things and just point out, as business leaders, I've always said it's our responsibility to provide the right tools to our team in order for them to be successful, and to meet and exceed their goals, and ultimately make the company successful. Brian did a great job of already jumping into these 3 key areas, but you need one platform where every employee in every department has access to all the same information. Tiger Paw's phenomenal in these 3 areas, the automated workflows and central billing. We talked about all the recurring revenue streams now that you need to manage. Tiger Paw can do that for you. You need a sales and marketing tool that will, if you need just a ticketing system to manage your business, there's a lot of great ones out there. Good for you. But if you want to grow your business and take it up to the next level, you need a powerful tool that will track all of these communications strategically and share that information within your entire team, not just one department, but everybody. I want to know when everybody's touching clients and what they're saying. It's a very powerful tool. And then most importantly to me, reporting and dashboards. You need to know what the heck is going on in your business. Financially, performance-wise, goal-wise, there's hundreds of thousands of different types of reports and dashboards available at your fingertips that are really easy, not just for the CEOs to get or the middle-level management, but all the way down to the employee level. Your technicians and salespeople should start their morning every day and look at their performance yesterday. Did I meet my goal? Did I exceed my goal? And what have I got going on today? They should open up a dashboard, and they're real-time dashboards in TigerPaw. So, you know, it's important that we use the right tools. And one single call to action on the next slide I just want to encourage you to do is, if you're intrigued and you're looking for any tools, you know, I want you to consider just reaching out to TigerPaw. Send an email to sales@tigerpaw.com. Thanks again, everybody. Take care. Bye now.